We have some major breaking news this evening as it has been announced that NASCAR has updated the weekend schedule for Mexico City for the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, we got some pretty massive major breaking news this evening as it has been announced that NASCAR has updated the weekend schedule for Mexico City. Here's what NASCAR said tonight. News: NASCAR announces updated weekend schedule for NASCAR Mexico due to two aircraft issues. They're granted multiple race teams in Charlotte, North Carolina on Thursday. Multiple flights have had issues. Multiple teams, unfortunately, are still stuck in Charlotte currently at the moment. One flight had been grounded due to engine issues, unfortunately. Another flight, I think, had something very similar that happened. Teams like Alpha Prime Racing, Haas Factory Team, Trackhouse Racing, and I believe a couple other teams and hundreds of people that are going to this event in Mexico are still currently stuck in Charlotte at this moment. This is why NASCAR is going ahead and making the changes. So here is the weekend schedule for the upcoming week at Mexico City. So the practice and qualifying session for the NASCAR Mexico Series race will take place at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, actually Eastern Standard Time. Then the Mexico race, which actually was supposed to be after practice and practice for Xfinity and Cup, that's actually moved a little bit earlier in the day to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be shared on MRN. It will not be on Prime or any of the networks. Then Cup Series practice will still be on Friday, with Cup Series practice number 1 taking place at 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Prime. And then the second practice session, which will only be a 30-minute practice session, that will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then on Saturday, we've got more changes. For the Xfinity Series, which originally was supposed to be on Friday, which I think was supposed to be at like 2 or 3 Eastern Standard Time, I'm pretty sure. That's been pushed back a little bit. Xfinity practice will take place at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then they'll go straight to qualifying. They will lose about 25 minutes of what they originally had, but they still will get about an hour on the track. They'll get about 45 to 50 minutes on the track to get a little bit logistical, even though I think Xfinity Series drivers, some do have experience running this event. I think that will help them in a really big way. And like I mentioned, qualifying will be at 12:10 Eastern Standard Time. Then Cup Series qualifying, which will also, of course, on Saturday, will be pushed back a little bit to 2:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was actually supposed to take place, I believe, a little bit earlier in the morning, but they've moved that back a little bit on the schedule because of that. And then, of course, the Xfinity Series race, there's nothing been changed on that front. That will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the race, so 3:30 Central Standard Time. If you're looking at Mountain Time, it's, I believe, 2:30 Eastern, and then, of course, for the West Coast, it'll be 1:30. That will take place. And then the Mexico race will take place at 7 p.m., which, of course, about 5 p.m. on their timestamp, which will be a little bit of a shorter race. And the Cup Series race, it has not changed currently at the moment. It will be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the green flag, I believe, will be at 3:21 Eastern Standard Time, so about 20 to 25 minutes after the green. I just wish we would actually start the race on the advertised time instead of just doing 20 to 25 minutes. I think Larry McReynolds actually said something best on Door Bumper Clear. I don't agree with all the stuff he said about network stuff, but I do agree we should be starting at the advertised time or as close to the advertised time as possible, so we're not waiting around for 20 to 25 minutes, because I think the ratings would go up for some of these events if we started on the exact time. As for this decision, this is really the only way that they could have done this. There were multiple teams that were stranded, unfortunately, that could not make it down to the racetrack. As unfortunate as it is, I don't really want to put all the blame on NASCAR in this situation, because they're not the ones that can control the engines having issues in these planes. And especially with what happened today, I'm not going to mention it, they made the right decision to go ahead and ground those flights. I feel bad for these teams that are still stranded at Charlotte, and it's unfortunate that it seems like every time we have a major event that happens for NASCAR, a new big and cool event happening, something ends up happening that does end up affecting it. You think about the Chicago race, the first one. They had the Storm of the Century. The Xfinity Series race didn't even get to halfway. Cole Custer won the race only, despite the fact they only completed like 20 of the 50 laps. And then, of course, the Cup Series race had the Storm of the Century, and they nearly didn't even get the race in on Sunday, and they had to try to get it in. And then you think about other events that have tried to happen, right? The Clash, the last year of the Clash, we had another storm of the century, one of the biblical storms, where they had to push the race up to Saturday because there was a lot of rain coming in the area, and now you've got issues in Mexico, and it's not just that as well. Granted, they do have rain tires for this weekend, but rain is going to be a factor this weekend. There's been a lot of rain issues that have been brought up. There was rain earlier today. I think rain chances have gone down a little bit. Again, they do luckily have rain tires for this weekend. So if they do have rain tires that come into the event, it shouldn't be a big issue. But it's just unfortunate this situation has happened, and I'm glad to see that NASCAR is making the logistical decisions. Now, The one thing I'm going to say here that I think is very important is I do believe that they should have an off week going forward. They shouldn't be trying to get everybody on one or a couple flights on the same day, especially with situations like this. I get they want to get everybody down there at the same time. I completely understand it's going to be difficult if you have people going down there, especially with stuff that can happen in Mexico. But I got to say that going forward, if we are going to have a big event like this, you need to have an off week in between. For instance, like with Michigan, right? We should have had Michigan, then have an off week this week, and then have Mexico the next week. Or, for instance, we have the race at Nashville. You have Nashville the prior week. You get an extra week off, and then you get time to get down there. Therefore, you're not trying to rush the haulers down there because they were trying to rush the haulers down this week. And there were a lot of logistical issues that really came into effect. So to me, I do think that there are things they can definitely do better. And I think a lot of people are going to be wondering if this race will be back next year because of this. And I think there's going to be a lot of people in the industry that are saying we shouldn't have this event again next year, which I completely disagree. I think this event should happen next year, but there's things that they can do better on that front. But they can't, unfortunately, really control what's been going on with the logistical side of things. It's also going to probably change some stuff in the media center as well because some of those teams, I believe, on there, which Ross Chastain has made it down there. I don't know. I think Suarez is down there as well. Not sure about SVG. But there's a lot of people that have been affected by this, and it's unfortunate this situation has happened the way it is. They can't control the flights having issues, but at the same time, I think the only thing they could have done here to be a little bit better about this and kind of resolve the situation is not having something like this come up. So, unfortunate situation overall, all things considered. The big change is, of course, Xfinity practice will be moved to Saturday, and Cup will be the only on-track action, which will be a little bit less on-track action for the weekend in Mexico City, unfortunately, which you still get a lot in Cup, but you won't get a lot in the Xfinity Series currently at the moment. But unfortunately, because of logistical issues, they've had to make this decision. I think it's really the only thing they could have done, and I think it's about the best thing they could have done in regards to the situation due to logistical issues that have unfortunately affected the weekend and affected the track. Weather, again, will be a big factor. We'll keep an eye on that as time progresses and goes on. So, that is going to be today's special breaking news report on NASCAR updating the schedule for Mexico City. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. Were thoughts by NASCAR updating the weekend schedule to try to get everybody down there safely? Let me your thoughts in the comments below. You think NASCAR made the right decision? Let me your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. We're going to talk about Cam Waters not running the supercar race, Denny Hamlin not racing this weekend in Mexico City, Alex Bowman being cleared to race this weekend, some silly scene stuff more than likely, and some other big stuff as well we'll continue to talk about like this weekend in Mexico City. Some stuff around Mexico we're going to talk about, like Jeff Gordon giving the command. We're going to talk about people Haley Deegan, SVG, Carlos, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Claudia Zafaran, Dodge, Frankie Muniz, Carson Quaffle, Junior Motorsports, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed, you name it, Tony Breidinger, all the good stuff. We'll be talking about all this kind of stuff on the channel in the coming days and weeks, as Brian Priest and Brad Gzowski, all the good stuff too, along with other stuff we'll be talking about on the channel in the coming days and weeks. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.